Hello folks, welcome back to another edition of This Weekend at the Movies, the show where we give you guys our quick thoughts on the biggest films coming out each weekend. I'm your host, Putnam, and I'm here to give you guys my thoughts on the latest science fiction film hitting theaters this weekend, AD ASTRA. So AD ASTRA stars Brad Pitt as an astronaut who, during a mission, gets involved with a pretty terrible accident. After this accident, he finds out that his father, played by Tommy Lee Jones, just might still be alive. So as a result, he is sent outer space to not only find out what happened to his father, but to find out where he is. So AD ASTRA was a film that I had heard a lot about, mainly because it got a lot of praise at the Venice Film Festival, but the trailers particularly didn't grab me, but I was still interested because I love me a good space film, and I will definitely say that I liked AD ASTRA. First thing, in terms of performances, Brad Pitt gives one of the very best performances of his career, and this is a man who has given many great performances throughout his career, but this is definitely one of his best, for without a doubt. Brad Pitt in AD ASTRA gives a much more subdued and a more reserved performance, mainly relying on his body language and his facial expressions for his performance than anything else in this movie. Another thing is that this movie is very well crafted. The movie is beautifully shot, I mean immaculately shot, and the score of this movie is absolutely euphoric. And not to mention, this movie has some very phenomenal scenes, starting off with an incredible opening. There's a scene that I will basically describe as Mad Max in space, and there are some just phenomenal parts that are in between. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the ending message of this film did get me. I know that there are tons of people that are absolutely praise this movie as one of the best films of the year, but for me personally, I did not find it to be one of the best films of the year. I mean, I liked the movie, I just didn't love it. One of my biggest issues with this movie is how James Gray paces this movie. Now, I had not seen a James Gray film beforehand, like The Lost City of Z, which I have heard nothing but excellent things about. But the thing is that James Gray has a very methodical pace, and I love great slow burners, like for example Sicario I loved Arrival, but if I were to bring out for me the best slow burn recently, that was Annihilation. The story particularly wasn't something I was emotionally invested in. I mean, there were parts definitely that I really liked about this movie, but there were other parts I feel like that had scenes that just kept dragging, and for me, the pacing for this movie is one of my biggest issues with this movie. I mean, now don't get me wrong, there are scenes in this movie that I absolutely loved and it had me engaged, but then there are other scenes where I felt like that they were absolutely going nowhere, and this movie is just about over 2 hours. Due to the pacing, it felt like it was over 2.5 hours. And due to that pacing that James Gray has throughout this film, I really feel like that it's going to turn off a lot of viewers. When it comes to the film story, there are a couple things that this movie does, and it feels like it's going in one certain direction, but then I feel like it just kind of doesn't go in that direction. It feels like it leaves that certain thing just out of nowhere without really any explanation, I felt. The ending payoff of AD ASTRA just didn't hit me as much as I would have liked it to. I mean, there was definitely a very good message to this movie, but the message didn't hit me to my core like I would have liked it to. But I will say that I liked AD ASTRA more than disliking this, so I will give AD ASTRA a recommend. This is a movie that is much more of a character-driven story more than anything else. However, just be mindful that this is a very slow burn. If you're not a fan of slow burners, you might want to sit this out. However, if you like character-driven stories, you just might like this one. And that was my review of AD ASTRA, guys. Please comment down and let me know below. Are you guys looking for this movie? Are you not looking for this movie whatsoever? Let me know below. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If so, please hit that like button and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell for whenever a new video from us goes live. If you guys want to see any of our previous 2 reviews, please click either right there or there. And of course, until our next review, we'll see you guys next time. Have a great weekend at the movies, guys.